In 1971, Ella Olesen put money towards a special scholarship. This provided funding for 1 or 2 female graduates from the Isle of Man and Denmark to join the Vandal community at the University of Idaho each academic year. My name is Joanne Derber and I am the 48th Manx graduate to receive this scholarship. I hope that this video answers some of the mysteries about Ella's personal history, the Manx perspective of the scholarship, and that it gives an insight into the fantastic opportunities available at the University of Idaho. Ella Olesen was born in the town of Moscow, Idaho on March 12, 1894. For those who are new to Moscow, it is located about 6 miles from the border with Washington State, nestled up in the northwest of the United States. Her parents, Margaret Elizabeth Thier and Peder Christian Olsen, were migrants from the Isle of Man and Denmark. Margaret was born in the small village of Belaf in the Isle of Man in 1860. She moved to the United States in 1890, where she lived until her death in 1948. Peder was born in 1845 in an area close to the southwest Esbjerg region and made his journey to the States in 1872. He died in 1938. After finishing prep school in 1911 at the University of Idaho, Ella stayed on and spent a year studying classes such as home economics, speech 1, and music 2. Although she didn't graduate, there were papers which clearly name her as being part of the class of 1915. From 1915 until 1920, she held various job positions at the University of Idaho. In 1924, her title as recorder was altered and she became known as the registrar, although her duties stayed the same. She kept this title until her resignation in 1944. Ella would have been about 50 years old when she resigned as registrar. The Special Collections Archives in the University of Idaho Library have 7 of her passports on record, each holding a host of world stamps. These document her extensive travel experiences during her retirement years and show that she really seized her opportunities to see the world. Ultimately, these stamps are symbols of the purpose of the Ella Olesen Scholarship. Ella clearly loved to travel, experience cultures far from her own, and learn about other people. The scholarship provides just the same opportunity for a younger generation of hard-working women who are eager to experience life across the Atlantic. Ella remained very involved at the University of Idaho. Documents show that she donated a phenomenal sum of $300,000 in stocks and bonds to the library in February 1981.
That's always helpful. Libraries are the last on the list for money budgets, so she was very generous.
In 1971, she officially set up the Ella Olesen Scholarship and initially hosted the scholars at her home. However, in 1984, her neighbours, Dwayne and Phyllis Letourneau, took over the role as host family. Sadly, Ella died not long after this transition. 2 former Ella Olesen scholars, Sharon Corkill-Cobb and Jan Callan-Smith, came to Idaho in 1984. Sharon wrote a letter to the Letourneaus thanking them for the opportunity to visit and meet with Ella shortly before her death in 1985.
My name's Diana Pauls. My husband Doug and I have lived in Moscow since 1977. And we first met Phyllis and Dwayne. They were one of the first ones to welcome us to the Palouse. They were great about sharing information, and so they would tell us the latest escapades or what was new to the Isle of Man women, and always brought them to church so that we could meet them there. Sometimes the girls enjoyed coming to church and would participate in our services, so we always loved it to have that wonderful Manx accent read the scripture for us. Phyllis was a volunteer extraordinaire. She and Dwayne were involved in every aspect of the life in Moscow. And I would say Phyllis's title should have been Palouse, Homemaker, and Welcomer. So Phyllis and Dwayne were also available for guidance on any kind of classwork or which classes to take. They were supreme mom and dad, known as Granny and Grandpa Idaho, I believe, to the girls, to if somebody got homesick or had a medical problem, or if they even just had a boyfriend situation they wanted to discuss, they would talk to Granny and Grandpa Idaho about that.
Dwayne and Phyllis Letourneau became an extremely integral part of the Ella Olesen Scholarship. This was due to their kindness in not only hosting but also creating a welcoming family life for the Manx girls who came to Moscow. Granny and Grandpa Idaho hosted the Manx Scholars for 27 years until just before their deaths in 2011 and 2013. For 2 years after, Ray and Julie Ketchum hosted the Manx Girls. Then, last year in 2013, Joanne and Tom Trail were asked if they would like to be the host family for Siobhan Walsh and myself. Joanne served as the International Friendship Association coordinator for 7 years in the 1990s. One of her responsibilities was to identify friendship families for international students. Her husband Tom was a member of the Idaho legislature as a Republican Idaho state representative for 16 years. They have been assisted by their friends Doug and Diana Pauls. Given Joanne's experience with the friendship family and her wish to stay in contact with international students, she and Tom have been pleased to be a part of our lives, taking us to the surrounding countryside, attending University of Idaho and community events together, and meeting for coffee. So for those who are applying to the scholarship or have already been chosen, here is a taster of some of the exciting possibilities that could be heading your way. Moscow in many ways holds similarities with the Isle of Man. It's rooted in an area called the Palouse and in a state which has many chances for outdoor activities. Perhaps you will go whitewater rafting like I did last summer. There are plenty of opportunities to get involved within the community too. The University of Idaho certainly does a fantastic job at giving back to those who may be struggling in life. Perhaps you'll get involved with Paint the Palouse, or will take an alternative service break trip. These trips take your team to a part of the state which is dealing with a local concern such as homelessness or environmental problems. I was lucky enough to visit San Diego and learn about the immigration issues associated with the Mexican border. Of course, all Manx scholars leave the States having met so many wonderful people and made special connections all across the globe. People are always curious as to why the Manx girls come to study at the University of Idaho. Ultimately, the two fundamental reasons are that we hope to teach people about the Isle of Man and essentially maintain the historical connections that have existed between the two countries since Margaret Tyr moved to the States in 1890. The Ella Olesen Scholarship is truly unique and extremely special in how far it transforms the lives of the Manx scholars. Moscow, Idaho is the perfect place to spend a year abroad and learn about American and international cultures. Thank you, Ella Olesen, for providing us with such an incredible gift.